Got the 1996 Nardini Fast Trace up and running. It's in jog mode here. Just going to show some of the axis travels, Z moving, X. Has operator controls for manual jogging on the apron. Here's your X handle, here's your Z. This adjusts your increment from like your standard, well, it reads on the machine. It would be 10 thousandths, 1 thousandths, 100 thousandths. Number of controls over here. Spindle override. This is feed override, also doubles as rapid override. This button here has to do with the manual teach input. You don't have to program in G code. You can manually run the machine and it will remember the movements and then repeat that as a program, and that is in the manuals which are included. Coolant on off, cycle start, stop, standard spindle start, just like on a regular manual lathe. We'll run her through. It is currently in constant surface speed mode, so I can show the spindle go up through the RPMs. We're capped at about, I want to say around 1500 here. Yep, so there's 1600 RPM. We're in high gear. 12 horsepower servo spindle. I will go through the 3 speeds carefully because we can only run so fast in the lower gears. So at least show you that they work well. So there's the lowest, and I'll have to be careful, but we'll bring it up to speed here. At about 270 RPM. We'll switch it to the middle range. You do have to work the chuck a little when you switch gears. Back at 270 RPM. I'll let it increase. I'll hear this gear come up. Generally don't take it over 1,000 in this gear, simply because there's plenty of power in the high gear. And back to where we started. Bring that up. We're at 2,000 RPM. Very torquey responsive spindle. 20T controller. It's a teach-in controller, but operates the same as the 21T, which is very common on lathes. The only difference, of course, are these modes. You can see some of the buttons have been labeled because the ISO symbols. This is outlined in the manual. All these buttons have to do with the manually teaching in, and we never really use that. We would download G code directly from a computer file. You have your standard modes otherwise. These 3 here, these 2 here are actually referencing modes. You only use them when it first powers up. I'll do another video on referencing the lathe. Otherwise, after it's referenced, they simply become hand jogging modes. And then the menus in the corner, like a normal Fanuc controller, tell you what mode you are in. Let's see here. Go to edit. Program library, everything's the same as a 21T. You can, while you're editing, can cycles, everything all functions the same. Gentleman that ran this lathe normally did not use the modern can cycles. He was older gentleman, was more comfortable with the older G90s, 92s, 94s. It worked for him. It ran fine for us. Made good parts. 17 by 40 tailstock back there is included. I believe it's got 4 inches of travel on the quill, MT4. There will be 2 tailstock chucks. One's a little tight. We'll include it. It's got a good taper on it. Chuck is just kind of crudted up. You can rebuild it or use it as you want. Extra universal backing plate. We have another backing plate with a custom fixture, a couple tool holders. All manuals included. Ignore the stuff on the back. Let's see. So you have that's your digital readout, offsets and whatnot. It's pretty common. You can find these symbols online if you're not familiar with the standard ISO symbols. I think we have some pages in the manuals that also help reference what they mean if you're not familiar with them. Parameters, we will get parameters downloaded and in an email file and try to get that over to Nate, and then you guys can have that for future reference. We've never had an issue with this. We did have a FANUC tech come in to look at a occasional alarm that pops up, and these are just startup alarms. These don't even. Occasionally we get a turret unlocked alarm, which is a fluke in the ladder program, because this lathe was offered with a turret, but this particular machine did not have one. It does not hinder operation. Most of the time you don't know it's there. All of a sudden it'll just pop up, hit reset, and it goes away. It doesn't stop you from running. It's just something in the PMC ladder that came from when the machine was built and was missed. Overall walkthrough, power over here. Serial port for data connection to computer. Again, that's how we typically power or load programs. It does have a 110 volt outlet to power a computer. We usually put it onto a LED work light. Here are the specifications again in case you missed them. We have wired it on 8 gauge cable. It says 6. Our electrician said 8 was fine. There's a good amount of cost savings, especially with today's material prices. There is a coolant pump included, a 50-gallon coolant tank, 50-gallon rated. I want to say it holds more like 80. The lock line will be stored in a box. You can put that on. It's just an extra link, position it how you want type of thing. It tends to get bumped and fall off, so we don't leave it on there unless we need it. I think that covers everything. The machine's power lubricated, uses your normal mobile Vectra way lube. That is on the back side of the machine. There is a key that allows you access to all the panels. That will also be included. And I think that covers it.